1. When you look in the mirror and see a hard, protruding belly, you are not looking at ordinary fat. You are looking at a living, breathing organ that is actively fighting against you. Visceral fat is biologically completely different from the soft fat on your arms or legs. It is an aggressive, metabolically active tissue. It wraps around your liver, your pancreas, and your intestines, manipulating your blood supply. Most people try to starve this tissue. They count calories, skip meals, or run on the treadmill for hours. But biologically speaking, you cannot starve visceral fat if your internal chemistry is programmed for danger. When you starve a stressed body, it clings even more tightly to the fat reserves in your midsection, as a vital survival reserve. The fastest way to shrink this tissue is not to eat less. It is to eat more of very specific compounds that flip your chemical switches from store to burn. 2. Do not think of food as fuel that is simply burned. Instead, think of it as information. Every time you eat, you send data packets to your cells. In the world of bioinformatics, we call this biohacking. We are not just giving your body calories. We are giving it the code to change its own structure. One of the crucial commands in this code involves a hormone called adiponectin. In science, we often call it the slimness hormone. Adiponectin is like a general marching directly to your fat stores and giving them the order to self-destruct. It signals to your body that it is safe to open the reserves and convert fatty acids into energy. The problem is, the more visceral fat you have, the quieter the voice of this hormone becomes. Your body literally forgets how to burn fat because the biological communication pathway is blocked. If you simply eat less, this pathway remains blocked. You only feel weaker while the fat stays. To truly melt visceral fat, we must artificially stimulate the production of adiponectin and make your cells sensitive to its message again. We repair the system from the inside out. It is not a diet. It is a recalibration of your hormonal intelligence. And here are the 5 specific code units you must feed into your system today to start this process. 3. The first code we must feed into your system comes from the depths of the ocean. We are talking about fatty fish, such as wild salmon, sardines, or mackerel. But forget the protein. What we really want are the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. Have you ever wondered why visceral fat is so stubborn? It is inflamed. It releases signaling molecules that make your cells insensitive to insulin. These high-quality fats act like a biological fire extinguisher. They penetrate the rigid walls of your cells and make them soft and flexible again. It is a battle of fat against fat. By building these healthy structures, insulin can finally knock again and guide sugar into the muscles instead of parking it in the belly. Only when the cell membrane is fluid can the previously mentioned adiponectin begin its work and start fat burning. But even the best fat burning is useless if the exit is blocked, and that exit is your liver. Imagine your liver as the central filter of your body. If this filter is clogged with its own fat, it becomes sluggish. This is where our second code comes into play. Cruciferous plants such as broccoli sprouts, arugula, or kale. These plants contain sulforaphane, a molecule that flips the so-called NRF2 switch in your liver. This is the master switch for detoxification. It instructs the liver to produce enzymes that literally loosen stored fat and transport it away. In addition, these vegetables contain the compound DIM. This helps neutralize harmful estrogen breakdown products. those hormones that falsely signal your body to store fat directly in the lower abdomen and hips. Do you understand the logic? First, we extinguish the fire of inflammation with fish. Then we clean the filter with bitter compounds. Only when the liver is clean is the path clear for the melting fat to finally leave your body. 4. And if your liver is clean and inflammation subsides, there is an invisible architect holding fat in your midsection, cortisol. When you live under constant stress, your body believes it is in continuous danger. It refuses to release its valuable energy reserves from the belly. This is where our third code comes in: pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are one of the most concentrated sources of magnesium. Think of magnesium as the chemical off switch for your adrenal glands. It binds to the GABA receptors in your brain and signals to your nervous system, you are safe. Only when this state of safety occurs do cortisol levels fall and the body dares to open the fat cells in the abdominal cavity. Without magnesium, your system remains in fight or flight mode, and the fat stays exactly where it is, no matter how much you exercise. But we must also control the intake. Every time your blood sugar spikes upward, insulin is released, immediately stopping fat burning. To prevent this, we use a physical trick: chia seeds or ground flax seeds. As soon as these seeds come into contact with water in your stomach, they turn into a thick, viscous gel. This gel settles like a protective layer over the inner wall of your small intestine. If you now eat carbohydrates, the sugar is not flushed directly into your bloodstream. It must struggle its way through this gel. This massively flattens the blood sugar curve and prevents the insulin shock. But the real magic happens deeper in the gut. When your gut bacteria ferment these fibers, they produce butyrate. Butyrate is a powerful signaling molecule. It travels through the bloodstream directly to your brain and triggers a deep, long-lasting feeling of satiety. It is not an artificial fullness, but a biological signal of satisfaction. You eat less because your body feels nourished, not because you force yourself. 5. We have extinguished the inflammation, cleaned the liver, and calmed the hormones. Now it is time to activate the turbo. Our fifth and final code is the avocado. Many people consider it only a source of healthy fats, but in reality it is a highly precise tool for repairing your cellular function. The key lies in potassium. Most people suffer from a chronic deficiency, which causes their cells to no longer absorb sugar efficiently. Avocados provide more potassium than a banana, and without the sugar. This mineral repairs the so-called sodium-potassium pump in your cells. The result? Your pancreas needs to produce less insulin, and as we know, less insulin means less belly fat. But the avocado hides an even deeper secret: oleic acid. This triggers the release of a molecule in the gut called OEA. OEA is a biological messenger that has a direct line to your brain. It sends an unmistakable signal. Energy reserves are full. Stop hunger and begin fat oxidation. This is where the real miracle of biohacking happens. Normally, your body sends this signal only after about 16 hours of fasting. But through avocado, you activate this fat-burning mode without skipping a single meal. It is the difference between the stress of starvation and the elegance of biological signaling. You are not forcing your body to fast. You are giving it the chemical certainty that it has enough energy to finally release its deepest fat reserves. 6. Now you possess all the individual pieces of the puzzle. But the real power lies not in consuming these foods in isolation, but in their combination, what is called stacking. Imagine a meal that looks like this: a juicy piece of salmon for adiponectin on a bed of arugula and broccoli sprouts for liver cleansing. sprinkled with pumpkin seeds for the calm of your nervous system and chia seeds for the glucose barrier, topped with half an avocado to accelerate fat metabolism. This is not an ordinary lunch. This is a targeted biochemical intervention. Every bite sends a message to your body. You are safe, you are nourished, and you are allowed to finally release the old fat. Stop waging war against your own body. Visceral fat is not a character flaw and not a sign of lack of discipline. It is a biological symptom of a system suffering from inflammation, stress, and insulin resistance. You cannot win against your own biology with pure willpower. You win through smart chemistry. Stop punishing yourself. Stop simply removing food. Instead, start giving your system the right data. Change the signals, and the fat will have no choice but to fade away. It is time to flip the switch. Your body is not broken. It is simply waiting for the right code.